I'm Sharon Bill. Welcome to my Music Theory Tuition series where I work with you step by step through the ABRSM Discovering Music Theory grades. I'll work through every single exercise and explain everything you need to know. You can access information about the books I have available to help you on my website. Go to sharonbill.com. For advert-free and longer lessons, you can become a patron at patreon.com/SharonBill. If you can give me a like, that would be super, and please do subscribe to my channel to stay updated. You can support this channel by buying me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/SharonBill. Here we are on page 40 of the Grade 4 Discovering Music Theory workbook, and we have a handy little kind of reference chart of all the different intervals in semitones. Now, we know that fourths, fifths and octaves are perfect intervals, so any unaltered interval within a scale pattern are perfect if they are fourths, fifths and octaves. And then we also know that we can have major or minor intervals as well. Remember that major means greater, minor means smaller. It's not necessarily that it's part of the major scale or the minor scale. That is a help and it's a starting point, but we have to adjust and just be careful because, for example, if I just do a little reminder, we can see that in C major, if we start, and then C minor, which we know has E flats, we can see that this C to D, the major second, that full step is part of the major and the minor scale. The third, however, is obvious because C major has no flats, C minor does have E flats, but for this major second it is helpful. However, outside of that, I do find it a little bit too confusing to remember all of these. It's all well and good if this is here right next to you, but if you've got to remember every single combination of semitones to create these larger intervals, I find that unhelpful. I also find that it's better to make sure you think of the steps and work them out in terms of perfect, major, minor, by sort of adjusting the increments, thinking of your key signatures, remembering that major means greater, minor means smaller. It's much better to understand it than to just work it out in parrot fashion. However, if you find it helpful to remember these semitones, it's a good reference as a double check. However, you do need to be careful because, for example, here we have C to E flat. So if I just draw that, we have C to E flat, and then if I just give a comparison, C to D sharp. Now here we know that C to D anything is a second, whereas C, D, E, 1, 2, 3, C to E anything is a third of some sort. Now if we look at C to D sharp, we can see that it's 1, 2, 3 semitones apart. However, now let's consider C to E flat. That is still 3 semitones apart. However, it's not the same interval at all. So it's okay as a double check, but you need to make sure that you get the number of the interval, a C something to a D something, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. We've got C, D, E, 1, 2, 3. And so I think you need to be careful using this system. However, it might be helpful as a little bit of a double check. So by all means, do keep this to hand if it helps you. However, let's just turn the page and then we'll consider these intervals. And I'm going to work through it in the way that I find most helpful. However, if you want to just keep referring to this for the moment until it makes a little bit more sense, there's nothing terribly new here. We've some new keys, but that doesn't change the intervals at all. And we just have now the minor second, which is easily distinguishable from the major second. That is one where perhaps we can think semitone or tones once you've established that they're one step apart on the music. And so here, I also actually, before we get entrenched, I also find that having a visual guide of a piano keyboard, even if you don't play piano, it's a good reference so we can see how intervals are adjusting by semitones one way or another. And so here we have a major 6. Now the first job of all is to find the number. That's the first job. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, counting space, line, space, line, space, line. And of course, you could, if you were really not sure, think, well, here we have a D, E, F, G, G, A, B. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's a sixth of some sort. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now then, regardless of what's going on, whatever key you're in, whatever scale pattern you're working in, always count the lowest note. And again, regardless of the order, you always count from the lowest note and treat the lowest note as if it were the tonic to get the interval relationship between the two notes. So here, if we're in D flat major, we know that D flat has a key signature of B flats, E flats, A flats, D flats, G flats. And here we're going from a D flat to a B flat, which is perfectly sitting with the key signature where both of those flats occur. It's part of that major key signature and it's a major 6th. So let's look at the next one together. So if this is a note B, and then this is a C, B, A, G, F sharp. Now, it's quite tricky thinking from F sharp. We know that it's a 1, 2, 3, 4th of some sort, and actually we know that fourths, fifths and octaves are perfect. It's perhaps less obvious starting on F sharp. However, if you find it hard, we can just think, well, I know that F to B flat is a perfect fourth because we're quite comfortable with F major. And therefore, a parallel movement, F sharp to B, must also be a perfect fourth. We've just got the same distance between the notes. We've just shunted everything up a semitone. So that's another way we can help. Start on this F natural to B flat and then shunt it up a semitone. And it's just seeing how these work together. And then, of course, you could always think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 semitones. And so you know that it's a perfect fourth, but you've got to establish the distance as a fourth first. Let's move on. So here we have a B to a D sharp, and that's a 1, 2, 3, B, C, D something. So we know that it's a third. Now we know that B major has a key signature of F, C, G, D, A sharps. D sharp is part of that. B to D sharp, that's part of the major key signature. We know that B minor does not have D sharps. It falls by a semitone. That would be the minor third, smaller. The major third part of the major scale is greater. So we know that that's a major third. B major would have D sharps. If you feel that you're getting the idea of it, do press pause and have a go on your own. If not quite yet, then let's work through the remainder of these together and then you can try the next set. Or you can just press pause at any point and just jump in and have a go. It's always better to learn by your mistakes, far better than just by passively copying. So here we have a C, B, A flat, and that's a C, B, A, G, F, and it's a 1, 2, 3, it's a third of something. F, G, A something. Now we count the lowest note, we count upwards, and we count the lowest note as our tonic. So we know that F to A, F major has B flat, F to A natural would be a major third, and then we make it smaller by dropping to the A flat, and we know that F minor does have A flats. That's a minor third, major, minor. It's a minor third, it's smaller, and it's part of the minor key signature. Now here we have an F, and then here we have an E. If you're not sure, think F, G, A, B, C, D, E. Now that's a 1, 2, counting line, space line, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th of some sort. Now F major has B flats, E is not affected by that, just E natural is a part of that scale. F minor has E flats in it because it's related to A flat major. That would be the minor 7th. This is the major 7th. It's the greater, and it's part of the major key signature. So it's just a plain old major 7th. Now here we have an F sharp to a G. So it's an F something to a G something. It's a 1, 2, a second. Now we know that F sharp to G is a semitone, so we know that it's a minor second, but if we just think about that a little bit further, we know that F to G in the major scale, that's a full tone, and then if we raise it to F sharp, we've made the interval smaller by bringing the bottom note up. That's given us our minor second. Let's continue on. Do press pause at any time that you feel that you can just have a go and then check it through. Always work in pencil. It doesn't matter if it goes wrong. It's always better to learn by your mistakes. So here we have a G, F, E flat going to a B flat. That's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a 5th of some sort, and we know that 5ths are perfect. And they fall. So E flat to B flat, counting from the bottom to the top, that falls within the major and the minor key signature. And it's because back in sort of medieval times, it was reckoned that this was the purest tone, the perfect sound, 4th, 5th and octaves. Now here, this is a C going to a D flat. And so we can see that that's a minor second. We know that C major has C to D as the full step in the scale, and then it's made a semitone smaller. We've got a semitone, it's a minor second. Again, you know, you can't confuse that with C to C sharp, which is a kind of a unison note because it's the same note just raised. So enharmonic equivalents don't work. It's got to be a 1, 2, a second of some sort. Now here we have a G and an F. Now in G major, we know that G major has F sharps in the key signature. That would be our major 7th. The fact that there's no F sharp and it's an F natural, just a normal F, means we've made the interval smaller. That is a minor 7th, it's been made smaller. So that's a minor 7th. And again, if you prefer to look and memorise these intervals, so long as you've got the steps correct, I just think it's much more obvious in a sense to just work it out and understand from your key signatures and look at whether it's major or minor, greater or smaller. However, this is a double check if you find that helpful. Let's move on to exercise 3, where we do get the opportunity to create these intervals now. So we still need to do the same process of thinking, but now we need to give the note. And so again, the first job is always to create the correct number of steps apart, and then we can create the correct major, minor, and so on. We always count up. So we have an F, 1, 2, 3, 4, that takes us to a B of some sort. And we know that F major and F minor should have B flats. So in order to make that a perfect fourth, we need to flatten it. Now C, counting up 5, C, D, E, F, G. That's our fifth, and we know that C major has no sharps or flats, and so that will do. And the G also actually falls in with the minor scale as well. We don't need to change anything there. Now, although they've put the box first, we still need to count up from this lowest note. So we need a third. 1, 2, 3 is going to take us to a G something, E, F, G, 1, 2, 3. Now, E flat major has a key signature of B flats, E flats and A flats. The G is not affected. So E flat to G is a major third. So we don't need to change anything there. Now, first of all, we need to create the sixth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 takes us from a G to an E. And so G major just has F sharps, and that would be an E natural. However, G minor, we know, is related to B flat major, which has a key signature of B flats and E flats. And so in order to change from the major interval to the minor interval, we need to go from greater to smaller. We need to consider the minor key signature, which would be E flats. And so that needs to be flattened in order to be a minor sixth. Now a major second, it's got to be the next step up from a D something to an E something. And we know that a major second is a full tone, so D flat, a full tone takes us to E flat. Now here we have a note B, and a perfect octave is literally going to be 8 steps away, taking us to the next B. Don't forget to count this as note 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 is the ledger line, and that's B to B, and of course that's a perfect octave. And so if you haven't done so already, I would certainly press pause now and just try the remainder of this exercise, and then we can look through it together. So I'm hoping that you've tried this last few. So here we have a C, B, A, G, F, E, D. And we need to create a major seventh. So let's get the note in place. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 takes us to a C. But we know that D major has a key signature of F sharps and C sharps. And so to make that a full step, a larger interval, part of the major scale, we know that D major has C sharps. That would be minor. This is major. So it needs to be a C sharp. Now here, although the box comes afterwards, we've got to count upwards. So if this is a B, the next door note is C. So that's a second of some sort, and we know that a minor second is a semitone. B to C is already a minor interval. It's a semitone. C sharp would be major, wouldn't it? And we know that B major has C sharps in the key signature. So B to C, semitone. That's already correct. And then here we have a B. Let's count up a seventh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Takes us to an A. That's the leading note. Now a minor seventh. So B major would have A sharps. It's got a key signature of F, C, G, D, A sharps. B minor has a key signature of F sharps and C sharps. It doesn't have an A sharp. That is the minor seventh, and we know that because that fits in with your minor key signature. Sometimes in the minor key we may have the raised seventh that makes it an A sharp, but that makes it a major interval. We raise it out of the minor scale. In its natural form, the minor scale is just A naturals, and also we know that it's smaller than the major, so it fits in with the B minor key signature, and that's the end of that. I hope this is helpful to your studies. Please do like and subscribe to stay updated. If you'd like to support this channel, you can buy me a coffee, and for advert-free lessons, you can become a patron. Do visit my website where you'll find many resources available to help you. Visit sharonbill.com. Thanks for watching. Bye.